Why, hello everybody, and thanks for joining us today. I'm Kyle Edward from This Is Drive, and today we're going to review and drive the 2018 Mazda 3 5-door hatch. Now, this starts around $18,000 for the sedan version and $19,300 for the hatch. There are two different engine options. There's a base 155 horsepower engine. That's 2 liters, creates around 150 pound-feet of torque. The other option is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, of course. Creates 184 horsepower and 185 pound-feet of torque. Now, for the 155 horsepower 2-liter engine, you get about 28 miles to the gallon in the city and around 37 on the highway. Now, you would think that the 2.5 liter, which makes a fair amount of horsepower more, about 20 more, the fuel economy would be sacrificing a little bit. But honestly, I was getting around 30, 36 on the highway and about 20 to 25 in the city, depending on driving. So we're really only talking about 2 miles to the gallon difference between the two engines. And from my experience, the 184 horsepower, which is what I've been driving, is definitely the one to go with. The 155 horsepower, if you're not really into any type of spirited driving whatsoever, you could go with that option, but again, I would definitely go with the heftier 184 horsepower engine option. Another fun fact is that you actually can get this car with a manual transmission. It's available on either engine, which is fantastic, and Mazda being the brand that it is, making very good gearboxes, I'm sure that the manual would be very fun to drive, especially in this type of car. I look forward to driving this that version in the future. But if you're into the whole manual driving scene, that this would be a really fun car for that. Another thing is that the Mazda 3 is actually a top safety pick from the IIHS. Now, they have a lot of standard safety features. They did really well with all its crash test ratings, which is something that we don't talk about very often, but it's very important. It comes in 3 different trim levels. There's a sport trim level, which is the base trim level. There's a touring, which is the middle of the road, and it comes with some good features, like leather seats and things like that. The Grand Touring, which is what we're in right here, fully loaded, of course. We have the navigation system, we have the heads-up display, we have pedestrian city help, we have a stop sign detection as well, and just a lot of great features both for safety and tech. We even have heated steering wheel, heated seats, and it doesn't break the bank. So $18,000 starting price for the Sport. The Touring is around $20,000, and the Grand Touring is around $24,000. With the heftier engine, we get a 0 to 60 time of about 7 seconds, and this of course competes with cars like the Honda Civic, the Volkswagen Golf, Ford Focus, and Chevrolet Cruze, to name a few. Now, when we look at the whole brand dynamic in this segment, there's definitely a lot going on in the compact car arena. Well, it's a little bit bigger than really tiny cars like a Honda Fit or a Hyundai Accent. It's definitely still a small car. Things I really like, of course, is that it's available in the sedan body style or here the 5-door hatch. I think that within this segment, it's one of the best looking vehicle designs. It's very sleek, has a very nice driving dynamic to it. I really like the Honda Civic. It's good too, and Jetta's a nice car as well. But from an overall perspective, I think that Mazda's done a phenomenal job with this car, just putting it together. Now, when we look at the interior, just the quality inside is very high. It doesn't feel like a $24,000 car. It definitely feels, in the higher end, better made than that. Now, of course, you can tell the window switches are pretty cheap and things like that, but the overall build quality is very high. The steering wheel in this car, absolutely love it. It has really soft, real leather. It feels very good, Very good to the touch. Definitely better than anything I've experienced in the other brands thus far. The door panels, very soft inside. We have the nice leather area where you can rest our shoulder, or I'm sorry, elbow. The knobs here where you adjust the air vents and the temperature controls. Again, very well put together, finished in this nice metal accent here, which I think is a good touch. The Bose sound system is very good, as you would expect from the brand, and takes some time to put all this high quality materials together in here. Now, one downfall, in my opinion, of this vehicle would be the, not necessarily downfall, but sort of a negative to some people. Now, while I personally really like the tachometer being front and center, definitely giving you more of a sporty driving experience, some people may find that to be a bit obnoxious. The other thing is the two small screens on either side of that, they do not display a lot of information. When you get your odometer, your trip information, basic information like that, but no navigation info in there, and it's all analog digital, so there's no really real screens. Something that hopefully updated in the future, while other competitors do have some better displays. Although we do have is the heads-up display, which of course displays navigation information, turns, stop sign detection, things like that, which is certainly very welcome. Well, enough about the interior. Let's go ahead and start this one up and take it for a little drive, and we will give you guys some driving impressions. Now, of course, driving is paramount to any new vehicle buying decision that you will make, and when it comes to driving dynamics, there really isn't a better vehicle in the segment, in my opinion, at this price point than the Mazda 3. It has, definitely a very focused, very sporty, spirited driving experience. The chassis and handling very in tune with the road. The steering is very precise, very connected to the wheels. It's not floaty at all. You get a very direct feeling, very direct response. Now, some people may not like that. Maybe they're looking for something that is, a bit more of a family car, something that is, not as geared towards the, dynamic driving experience. And with that said, this probably would not be the car for you. However, if you are like me and you'd like to, throw into the corners a little bit, have a little bit of fun once in a while when you're driving, then this would probably be one of the best options for you. Again, especially at this price point, which is around, $25,000 fully loaded. Of course, the other brands like Ford makes the Focus ST and the Focus RS, which is pretty crazy. Also, Honda having their their SI and their other higher end model of the Civic. I believe it is the Civic Type R, if I'm not mistaken, which is very aggressive, very sporty. But that's an entirely different class, in my opinion, than this. This is obviously a very base, for the most part, vehicle that is going to be purchased by many consumers. And with that said, in that range of purchasing, this is definitely the sportiest vehicle out of the bunch. The 184 horsepower engine, again, which has a round of 7 seconds 0 to 60 time, I find to be adequate. Do I wish it was just a little bit peppier? Yes. You really need to get it to around 3,500 RPMs, to really break through that power. But just have it, right now. Yeah, we're, some good acceleration. Went from about 50 to 70, pretty quick there. Definitely gives you the feeling of power. And, starting off the line, it definitely does a good job, around the city where that's going to be very important. We also have a manual shifting mode here, which is connected to its 6-speed automatic transmission in this version. The manual shifting from my experience, all Mazdas is very good. A lot of vehicles, you will do the shift, you have to wait a few seconds for it to actually make the shift. It's not fun, it's rather obnoxious, and nobody should ever use it. However, in this particular application, again, all Mazdas, which I found, the manual shifting is right on point. As you start to take off down the road, and then you can use either the paddle shifters or right down here with the gear selector. I like to use the paddle shifters myself. Pretty much instantaneous, response from the shift input on the steering wheel or down here on the floor. So makes it fun. You know, it's very responsive, and that's, I'm sure, thanks in part due to the setup of this whole thing with the electronics in the system, as well as the transmission itself mechanically. And you know, again, it's fun. You know, it really does feel a little bit like you're driving a manual, just with the quick responses that you can get from it. Well, no, it's not a manual. It still can be fun, and in other cars it's just not. So that's definitely a bonus. But overall, Mazda's done a great job packaging the 3. You know, it has a very dynamic driving experience. It's a very sleek design. The interior has a lot of great tech features. We even have, you know, distance guided cruise control. We have the heads-up display. We have this multimedia system which works with this controller down here. We have push to start. We have navigation, of course. We have the Bose sound system. Just, you know, all in all, it's just, you know, a real solid vehicle. I really do like it, and I look forward to, you know, seeing what the next generation of Mazda 3 has in store for us. Well, that's all we have for you today. I am Kyle Edward, and I hope that you found this video to be informative and fun to watch as well. Take care.